Hello, you're listening to Lists and Other Things That No One Asked For with Jesse Barbin, your weekly mini podcast about books, movies, TV, growing up, etc. Thank you for listening. Today we're going hardcore list based on a suggestion that came in over the Google form, the best dogs. I could make a list of the best dogs all day. If we're talking about real dogs, I'd like a dog with a smashed-in face. Your Boston Terriers, your Pugs, or at least I thought I'd like that. In my early 20s, I house sat for someone who had a pug, and every day I'd get home from work, and that dog would hop around my feet and blow snot and slobber all over my legs and feet. It looked cute, but it was a super annoying dog, and I don't think I'd ever get one. I like a Boston Terrier. They're like a pug, but a little more sophisticated looking with their black and white tuxedo-like markings. We had a Boston Terrier named Boo when I was growing up, and he would go absolutely ballistic near balloons and have to chomp them and pop them the instant he saw one. I don't know what his deal was with balloons. Maybe his previous owner teased him with balloons. Whatever it was fascinating and slightly terrifying to see this guy go absolutely mental on balloons. Sometimes I would forget that he was like that, and a balloon would just be around somewhere in the house, left over from a birthday party or something, and all of a sudden you would hear a furious growl, and he would just lose it. My parents have a Boston Terrier now named Baxter, and he is also a crazy dog, so maybe I won't buy a Boston Terrier anytime soon. It's a moot point since I rent, and I can't have so much as a goldfish at my current residence. I don't have opinions on many of the other real dogs. I do want to specify that ranked dead last at the very bottom are golden retrievers, who are super annoying. When it comes to fictional dogs, there are lots to choose from. Number one is Bandit Healer. For those who don't know, that's Bluey's dad. Bluey is an Australian kid show on Disney+. I don't know how you could escape it, but if you have, that's who he is. What I like about Bandit is he is only mildly incompetent as far as dads go. A lot of pop culture dads are portrayed as being 100% incompetent, and Bandit is only around 50% incompetent, which is probably fair, and I would rate myself similarly at around 50% incompetence level. I also like that Bandit is engaged with his kids, and he generally admits his mistakes, and he's trying to be a good dad. I like him, and I identify with him, and is it weird that I identify so much with an anthropomorphic dog? Nah. Number two is Rolf the dog of the Muppets. Rolf plays piano, he has a cool voice, and he's generally pretty chill. Some might question why I put him so high on the list, but Rolf is part of the secret sauce that makes the Muppets work. Obviously, there are not a lot of chill Muppets. Most Muppets are going pretty hard, but for some of the Muppets to go big, you have to have someone mellow and playing it cool, and that's where Rolf comes in. If you didn't have Rolf, you wouldn't have a Miss Piggy or a Gonzo. He is part of the great balance that makes the Muppets work, and I aspire to be as chill as Rolf. Number three would be Odie of the Garfield Cinematic Universe. When I was in elementary school, I liked nothing better than going to Green Valley Library and checking out a stack of Garfield books and spending a whole afternoon reading Garfield. Odie is Garfield's sidekick, and what drove me nuts about Odie is that he just took abuse from Garfield all day long. Garfield talks about Odie being so dumb, but from reading it, you can tell that Odie is obviously not dumb, or at least not as dumb as Garfield is making him out to be. It made me crazy as a child. Stand up for yourself, you yellow idiot, I would think. Probably why it bothered me so much is back then, and honestly still to this day, I feel like I have a little bit of Odie inside me. I can be a bit of a pushover, and I hate that about myself, which is why I hated Odie as a child, but I kind of get him now. Incidentally, I recently traveled the Garfield Trail, which is a thing you can do here in Indiana. This is because the creator of Garfield is from here in Indiana. You can drive around and see 14 gigantic Garfield statues at various places. It's a fun way to spend a rainy afternoon, I have to say. Let's see, who else? There's Falcor from the Neverending Story, although I think he's technically a dragon or a snake, but come on, man, that's a dog. I wasn't repulsed by him, but I also wasn't a huge fan of him either as a child. I remember turning to my siblings and saying, "What's up with this dog guy?" And none of us knew. Number 5 and 6 are obviously Shadow and Chance from Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey, a retriever and a bulldog who get separated from their family and have to find their way back to them through the wilderness with their friend who's a cat. And I can't remember the cat's name. All while they're getting jacked up by porcupines and bears. But what I loved was the quips. At age 6, watching Homeward Bound on VHS, I thought the dialogue was the funniest thing I had ever heard up until that point. Later I read the book the movie was based on, and I was severely disappointed in the dog dialogue. Number 7 is Gromit of Wallace and Gromit. I should have put him higher, but I don't want to go back and renumber. He's the dog who is smarter than his master, and I loved him for always saving the day. Honorable mention goes to Scooby-Doo, the lead character in the various Scooby-Doo mystery cartoons. He's technically a Great Dane, but he's a coward. I would basically describe any given Scooby-Doo show as an ensemble slapstick proto-X-Files, and I mean that as the highest compliment. Thank you for listening to Lists and Other Things That No One Asked For. If you have a suggestion for a list or an idea you'd like me to talk about, please fill out the Google form in my bio and I'll get to it. I'm available everywhere at Jesse Barbin, new episodes every Monday.